Greetings and welcome to the Dr. J Vlog Series. It is Monday, May 12th, 2025. We talk about math and statistics, but I'm going to use a slightly different framework for talking about that today. I'm going to actually apply it to your own walking and fitness. So, bipedalism refers to the ability to walk upright on two legs, and that capacity developed with our ancient relatives, or hominins. Perhaps as much as 4 million years ago. Humans are unique among all living primates with respect to our striding bipedalism, wherein one leg moves in front of the other. And through the magic of evolution, we humans have developed highly specialized anatomical features. So we have skulls that are balanced directly on top of our spines. That's actually kind of unusual. We have a curved spine and wide cup-shaped pelvis with short iliac blades and large hip joints. These features facilitate supporting the body in its vertical trunk, while then efficiently transferring the weight that allows us to walk upright and supports ourselves in our different motions that are required for both walking and running. So it's really an incredible set of mechanisms that allows us to walk. We also have, our legs are obviously much longer relative to our arms. So that's another kind of fundamental difference. And we have knee joints that fully extend and lock, which is pretty cool, as well as the unique foot that we humans have, with a robust ankle region and specialized arches for shock absorption. That's why those who have flat feet sometimes need orthotics or need an adjustment to help with that process. So in short, we are built then to be these ambulatory creatures. We're built to walk around. We're built to explore our environments. To cultivate our foodstuffs, or simply to stay fit and healthy. So, and yet we don't seem to walk nearly as much these days as we used to, or at least historically, in part, of course, due to the many different technologies that are available that make, walking an unnecessary mode of transportation in many cases, or at least an inefficient one, depending upon where we live or relative to our workplaces and so on. And then in general, even our work itself tends to be much more sedentary in nature, right, compared to, our ancestors. And so, all that said, the average person is still estimated to walk about 1.5 to 2 miles per day, okay, or between 3,000 and 4,000 steps. Again, that's the average person. And that allows us to burn off, just from walking, 200 to 300 calories, for example, depending on your age and sex, your size, your weight, and how vigorously, of course, we are engaged in the walking process. And there's a certain percentage of people, of course, who enjoy jogging or running, right? They're competitively or, or just in the context of various sports. So that's important as well. But I'm more interested in the question of why, on the whole these days, we have retreated from engaging in walking as much on a daily basis, for exercise or merely for the sake of observing nature, from simply relaxing to spending time with someone that you care about. So I understand that many people have physical limitations too that prevent them from walking or might lead to severe restrictions of various kinds. But even then, we can usually adapt or find a way to cope creatively to stay mobile, or at least, as mobile as possible given our circumstances. To me, though, the main issue involves lifestyle. It involves dedicating the time to commit to actual walking. So, typically we have to be at work by a certain time, and we live relatively far away. Or the weather might limit our options, especially here in Canada. There's too much to do after work, or there are children to look after, or 100 other reasons for avoiding our natural gift of bipedalism. And yet that natural gift is precisely one of the ones that too many of us then choose to squander. Regular walking or related forms of exercise are known to directly contribute, for example, to longer lifespans. So it is literally in your best interest to engage in a certain amount of walking. And so one of the major benefits, for example, would be reduced risks of cardiovascular diseases, among other conditions, or type 2 diabetes. There are many other health conditions where regular exercise or walking can directly reduce your risks. And of course, at the same time, there are the fitness benefits, or it helps with weight control or burning calories, reduces stress while boosting our moods in general. And in short, there are just too many benefits to walking regularly that I could possibly list. And so basically, it's the old concept of use it or lose it. And indeed, that's what happens to some people. Eventually, over time, through neglect and through the absence of regular exercise, it becomes increasingly difficult then to get restarted. So, again, before it's too late, don't give up on yourself and start walking. Walk a mile, a kilometer, whatever you can for starters, then you can build from there. Just be aware that even walking, say, a mile at a normal pace is going to result in the average person burning at least 100 calories. And again, that varies based on age, sex, weight, and walking speed, among other factors. So in my case, I figured that, some time ago, that if I'm walking at a brisk pace of about 4 miles per hour or 4.5 miles per hour, that's 6 to 7 kilometers per hour, then I'll burn upwards of about 400 calories over a 3-mile or 5-kilometer walk. But calories are not necessarily a big motivator, or you don't even need to think about them. Instead, you might just consider some of the many other benefits that I mentioned. Or perhaps build, and this is what I'd really recommend, that you build a functional aspect into your walking habits. So for example, I'll have my wife drop me off, if I'm running errands or even at the fitness center so that I can walk back home. So that's maybe a 15 or 20-minute walk. That gets, that helps meet the daily requirement, or at least, helps with fitness and mood and all the other things that I've described. In my case, I have the option of being able to walk to work. Now, again, that may not be the case for many of you, but if you do have that option, that's a great way to get in some steps and to get in some exercise. So for me, it's comfortably, I can walk to work in about 45 minutes. Excuse me. But if you're going to walk to work, that obviously requires a bit more, planning and time management. But still, it's a great way to shake off the cobwebs in the morning, or to relax after work, to do some thinking, listen to music or a podcast or whatever you like to do. And actually, you can just schedule regular walks into your daily routines, your exercise, your nature routines, really for the benefit of your physical and mental health. And then if you're really ambitious, you can start to plan longer walks or excursions of various kinds, or bicycle rides for that matter. But I'm not talking about the bikes, because they can be expensive, and that's a whole other investment. And some people don't even know how to ride bikes, believe it or not. But there are countless fun runs and walks, 5-kilometer, 10-kilometer fun runs and walks for cancers or for various charities. There are, of course, the annual Terry Fox runs, which I've talked about in another video. And there are many, many other opportunities to both do some walking and at the same time contribute to the broader well-being of society, or for whatever causes that you might favor. And you can even also plan for bigger excursions or pilgrimages if you for whatever purposes you might have in mind. And now, of course, if you're going to do longer excursions, then you have to prepare. There are different types of training schedules, which include alternating fast and slow walking, or, interval training, as they say. You could also do, hill training or different terrains and much more. But you can start with something simple just to get started. You could just walk to the convenience store if you have one relatively nearby. Measure the distance and the time it takes. And then you can schedule that. Or if it's too far, obviously, or unreasonable for a first walk, then do something shorter. And I mean, literally, you can start with a half a kilometer or half a mile, whatever, something, very reasonable or manageable, again, depending on your fitness and your current health, etc. And then try that again the next day, or give yourself a day to recover because you might be sore. But get into some kind of a regular routine in that regard. And I do recommend trying to do it every day if you can. And then gradually increase your distance and or your pace. And then in a matter of weeks, most of you might surprise yourselves, but you'll almost certainly be able to comfortably walk, 5 to 8 kilometers, or again, roughly 3 to 5 miles, probably in under an hour. And you'll be amazed at how much better you'll feel and what a change you'll recognize in just a matter of weeks in yourselves. And so once you've committed then to doing some walking, then I recommend tracking or logging your efforts. Now, again, this is what competitive runners or athletes do all the time. And I'm not suggesting that you need to be a competitive athlete to do this. I'm just suggesting that this is a great way to go about monitoring your efforts. So again, just basic math and statistics. That will give you a frame of reference to be able to monitor your progress and to measure your change and improvements over time. So finally, if you get serious then about the walking business, then you can go on to the next step and perhaps buy something like a Fitbit watch or something along these lines to help track your progress as well. Oh, and be sure to buy a solid or high quality pair or comfortable walking shoe of some kind of a cross trainer. I recommend. Because the bottom line is you want to be comfortable. You want to protect your feet and your entire body. You might need orthotics, so look into that if you've got foot problems of various kinds. And so if you need them, use them as well. But the bottom line then is you want to feel good about walking. You want to have the necessary supports to prevent injury. Okay, look after those feet of yours. But most importantly, just get out there, get active, be moving, or build that into some of your basic daily routines or scheduling. All right, that's it for today. I don't want to go crazy with this vlog, but kind of combining a bit of math and statistics, but applying it or thinking ahead to apply this to your own fitness habits. So again, you need some basic math and stats to do that, or to do that reliably, and to be able to, as I say, track your progress. All right. Well, I hope this has been helpful. And until next time, as ever, may you and yours continue to create peace in your lives, nurture love in your hearts, and dole out hugs in abundance. And I will see you soon.